Oh yeah, filling time.
We're filling time today.
Yeah, we don't always fill too much time.
Yeah,
It's really, but we're filling. We technically, it's true. I mean, even if it's a second, we're filling time for a second. We haven't started, haven't done the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's good.
Listen, it's good to see my
Sunday pod is like in season vibes.
Well, listen, when you have an event like happened today, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yes, you ain't wrong, pal.
I took a risk.
We got to celebrate the things that are worth celebrating these days. You know what I'm saying?
I know. Yeah. And don't you worry, I am gonna have the Kyle Backus outing on my phone right there.
Well, don't worry, I got the TV on behind me, so.
Just two pros.
That's what we do. All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yo, it is another edition of the High Hopes podcast, sponsored by Miller Lite, official partner of the Philadelphia Phillies. Tastes like Miller Time Philadelphia. Celebrate responsibly. Fritzy, it's got to be something big to get me to lock in on spring training baseball, baby. What a day! Look, we've got a lot of time to complain, and we'll get into the interviews we did, and there's all kinds of stuff to talk about. But like, here's where my mind is at right now on a Sunday afternoon at 2:30 as we sit here to record a pod, like we will do in season after series, which will be super fun and all that kind of stuff. But like, it's been for me a bummer of an offseason the way it's played out, but in general, like. The way they lost, the whole thing, it hasn't been like there's that much super exciting stuff. Watching Andrew Painter today was freaking exciting, man. Like that felt like it was 2 innings of 20 pitches, but just to see him look healthy and awesome, and the stuff looked like to even, we'll see the Fritz expert breakdown, but to my layman's eye looked like it had life to it. And listening to him after the game and the confidence and how good he sounded. Like I was, I'm really freaking excited about this kid, man. And it's exciting to look at someone that age and think to dream that like this kid could be like a great positive part of our lives for the next decade plus or something. It's like, and who knows what happens, but it's fun to hope,
Well, I can tell you're excited because I don't think I've ever seen the camera move the way that it's currently moving. With the leg must be going out of control. There's so much shaking, so much shaking. Yeah. But no, and I mostly echo your sentiments on the excitement and stuff. But man, being down there and you mentioned Painter, we'll get to Painter, of course. Watching Justin Crawford has been equally as exciting, and it seems like every game he's getting a hit. He's doing little things well, playing good defense. He had a double yesterday on the line. Like that stuff. As the season is getting closer and closer, my excitement level is really starting to rise. What Stott is doing? What Stott's doing? He with the
center field, dead center. How about it?
And it didn't look like the ball was traveling.
No, dude, it looked like it was like a fly ball, like off the bat. Like if you like. It looked like a lazy fly ball to center field. Like the fact that it carried that far is a really good sign for where he's at, like strength wise and swing wise.
Well, and he just looks so much like Schwarber. It's hilarious. It's amazing. It's Charlie Morton ripping off Roy Halladay all over again.
Yeah, you know what? Charlie Morton had a really nice long career because of that, buddy.
Yeah, you know who else tried to look like Roy Halladay in college that didn't work out as well as Charlie Morton? Me. Yeah.
Well, let's hope according to Rob Thompson, we'll get into your interactions with the skipper. Let's hope that his Brad Keller looks like Roger Clemens thing, plays out in a
physically
way better
physically.
Than I know. It was very funny though. It was one of those, we'll get to it, but the word association when you're just doing that and it's like you say Brad Keller and he's like Rocket, and it's like even you. I had such a high hopes moment where you'll do the like, well, player guy no one on listening has ever heard of till you bring it up is the next Kurt Schilling or whatever the hell you'll do. Like, and I'll be like, yo, like hearing you go easy, like when he said, I was like, that's me. That was great. I loved it.
Tone it down, Topper. But on Andrew Painter.
By the way, Andrew Painter, future superstar. That word association is what freaking Topper said. By the way,
yeah, and it was really cool. It was 3 years to the day since he pitched in at the Twin Stadium, and I thought he looked a little jittery early. I didn't think he had super great feel for his off speed yet. I think that's something that will come back as we go along here. But overall, I mean, pounded the strike zone. I thought when the fastball was up, it had the life back. It didn't generate as much, like a lot of whiff, but no one really squared him up either. So I think that was
it was like felt like weak contact when they did hit it. Yeah,
and that was not the case at AAA last year. And I understand that. I understand that it wasn't. He wasn't facing Judge and those Yankees, but there was major leaguers at the top of that lineup that he had to go against, and
it's his first competitive at bats pitching wise in 3 years. I mean,
well, besides AAA, but
yeah. You know what I mean, the majors. I'm sorry, I should have said against major leaguers. I should have said
yeah. So I thought he was a little nervous early, and then I thought once he settled in, he was fine, and it was all I was looking for all day was just what's the fastball going to look like, because it really matters so much. It changes so much, because if it's last year's fastball, then he has to be a guy that has to sneak fastballs by people. And even at 97, 98, like that's not a good spot to be in for Andrew Painter. And that's not what made him such a great prospect. The fastball I saw today, I don't think it was like a dominant fastball, but it was much better than it was at AAA last year. So lots of weak contact. I think as the spring goes along, the feel for he threw like one sweeper, I think, but it was pretty nasty. I think it was only 20 pitches.
Yeah. And that was a slider that he got the strikeout on was a good pitch too. Yeah, it was a good pitch too.
It was. Change up. He's going with that split change look. I think that's going to take a little while to develop a feel for. It didn't really do much, but overall
stuff, right? I mean, again, that was more my point. It's like his first outing of spring, like anyone's would be, much less him not having pitched. So like I would expect, all this stuff to get sharper. That like that's the point.
Yeah. But I think the most important thing was the fastball. He was coming out and being aggressive with it. He's the old school established the fastball. Seemed like it was out, and I like that. I like that he wasn't afraid of it. He wasn't afraid of it, which I think is really big for him. Just have the confidence in that pitch. So super encouraging. Up to 98, with it, which was good. And I was so nervous. Like 12-15, I was like almost pacing around the house. I was like,
I know. Please I'm sure you were. Again, you texted me 2 days ago and said, "Can we please do a podcast after Painter pitches?" I have to. I need to.
Please don't
you framed it as the audience needed it, but like, come on. I know the truth is you needed it. Maybe the audience needed it too. Let's be honest.
I was in Clearwater for 2 days. You were in Clearwater before that. There's so many Phil's thoughts
so much to think about here.
Just been cooped up.
Yeah, I will. Before we get to the other stuff, one more thing on Painter I will say from Dan. I mentioned it before that stood out to me was, and look, it's small stuff. Anyone can talk into a microphone, but the interview after with Tom and Rube, I thought he just seems, for a 22, almost 23-year-old kid in this type of spot, knowing that there are a lot of eyes on a spring training start, more eyes than he pitches with for the most part, and obviously there'll be many more coming, but he just seems super composed and super confident, and he looked confident on the mound too. And to your point, look, I know Tommy John surgery has become almost, commonplace for a lot of these guys at young ages and all that, but until you're the guy going through it and you're having to trust your arm again and go through surgery and do all this stuff and work it back and trust yourself again to get back to that level and not know if some part of you doesn't know if you can or will. You hope to, expect to, whatever, but like, it's important to get that confidence back. And it really felt like on the mound, the way he carried himself, the way through, and even after the way he talked to those guys, it just feels like this guy feels like he thinks he's like, if not fully back to where he was, like close and going to get there. And I think that's huge. I think it was huge. I was really impressed listening to him.
For such a baby face, he looks like he has some fire in his eyes.
He sounded like a 50-year-old guy the way he talked, like just in terms of the confidence that he was a kind of a slow, patient talker. Like, oh, he just seems like he reminds you of kind of those like stoic pitchers. He does. He has that kind of personality. The guys when they interview, they're just kind of like, yep. I got it. It's cool. Whatever. Just like they're like he feels locked in. And
yeah. I thought he was a little goofier, to be honest with you.
Me too. So did I. And he certainly wasn't there. Maybe he will be as it comes out. Like, look, we've learned, I feel like he reminds me of my first impressions of Zach Wheeler. And then we've learned that Zach Wheeler is like a weirdo and funny and has all these like quirky things about him and stuff like that. I mean, weirdo in a good way, like keeps your rib in a closet and a jar thing. Weird, funny, good stuff.
I don't think Brad Keller kept his.
But you know what I mean? Like but Wheeler seemed very stoic and very like serious. And I think he is that, but I think he's also got that other side. I think, we'll see it as Painter grows and stuff, but he definitely has that, it feels like he has that intense and that intense and confidence. So, all right, let's get to some other stuff. Cause I don't think there's too much from this specific game. We'll get to spring training thoughts. I'm sure your take bag is full of stuff, but let's talk about some big stuff. Cause you're right. We since we've talked here, my show talked to Bryce Harper, Schwarber, Dombrowski. Your show talked to Topper, Turner. I mean, there's been all these, our guy, a little,
good to see him.
For the big dog, Aiden. So let's just go through it all. Let's kind of react to it all. Obviously, I think there's some bigger ones to react to than others, so we could start with those. Let's start. We'll go in order of the week. Cause I think, look, Schwarber was great. I don't think there's too much to react to other than I think if you want to understand from a behind the scenes perspective, why that guy's worth the money he is, just listen to that interview. I mean, I felt like I wanted to, if he had been like, hey man, you want to come run some errands for me? I'd be like, yeah, let's do it, man. What can I do for you? He's inspiring. He's awesome. And I truly believe everything he says about all he cares about is winning. All he wants to do is win, whatever he has to win. I totally buy that. The way he carries himself. But let's get to Harper. Cause I think I've never met Bryce before. I've never been around him before. And I know, the handshake thing, the people missed the magical moment off camera that we had. I told him about Bedlam at the bank and how amazing it was to be in the building for it and whatever. But just for forgetting that thing.
Can we admit it was a funny video?
It's hilarious. And the funny thing is when I went and I saw him look, because Rhea's like, oh, Bryce. And he turned away right as I was doing it. And I was like, but I almost cursed. In my head, I'm like, bleep. In my head, I'm like, I knew it. And then I walked off and I was like, oh, yeah. And Rhea had my back because she's a queen and she really did. It was very funny. Yeah. It's better that way. Look, it's way funnier with the video and stuff. But forgetting that interaction, just on the whole, I will say he's intense, man.
Dude. Yeah.
I had never been I've seen him in the locker room, when they celebrate. I've never interviewed him. He's intense and he looks you in the eyes and he's
I know.
When he answers, whether people believe what he says or not, or this, in the room, in the moment, it feels like he is being 100% honest with you. And he is saying exactly what he feels and how he feels it. And he's not pulling any, so I don't know. I thought Bryce was great in the interview. I really did. I didn't really, I will get to Dombrowski. I know you and I are actually, I think you and I we didn't really have much problem with it. We'll get to it. But I think obviously many did, but whatever, we'll get to it. But I thought with Bryce, he didn't really say, I thought it was a kind of from his perspective and from us, I think it was kind of a perfect interview for him where I think he reiterated his points we needed to, but nothing went past. I think he didn't say anything that was out of bounds. And I think he was really interesting on stuff. I think, obviously very candid with I think they're going to start the city. They'll love it. The no on the, sorry. See, but on the whole, I thought Bryce was, really great. The thing that stood out to me being in the room is holy crap, this dude is super freaking intense. I feel it's intense just being in the room with him, the way he carries himself. But on the whole, my takeaway from Bryce was I thought it was really interesting but I don't think there's too much to take away. I think we've kind of learned everything about this situation that we can. It's in an okay spot, but what'd you make of the Bryce interview?
Well, he I was glad he didn't further the story with him and Dombrowski. He said, listen, it was in the past, said what I had to say. We met, all good. I think that was I think that was really
Smart.
important. And, you talk about the intensity, and there's been this obsession with him not looking super thrilled or all the time, even though he says he loves playing baseball. I think you're just seeing. I think
it's
you're
who he
seeing.
is, man. He's an intense guy, man. Some people are like that.
I know.
I think everyone knows people who are like, wow, this, like, they're great. They're like, it's not like they're nice, they're this, they're that, but like, that's a pretty intense human to be around, That's what he felt. Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel that too, then, because you've been around him. Like, he's intense. Man.
Well, he's got an aura to him. He's got an aura.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, hey.
Yeah, it's a little different when he walks.
Yeah,
like Schwarber's one of the guys. Schwarber's
totally.
Hang out.
Schwarber kept like looking back at me and like smiling when he was doing the interview, and I was like, "Hey, man, like, hey, pal, like Bryce was not doing that." I mean, not because it's just like a different vibe,
Yeah. Well, and I just remember the one time we were interviewing him, he like looked me dead in the eye, and he was like, in 22 we had Hoskins batting 2. Me right, and like was looking, and I was like in my head, I'm like,
sure, okay.
I was stumbling. I was
You're
like,
not thinking at all about what he's saying. You're just like, is Bryce looking in my eyes? Like that? What's happening right now? What's going? Yeah, exactly.
What are you grilling me for?
So,
you turn this interview around? Turn this interview around on me?
Yeah.
But no, he was good. He was intense. Like, I think winning a ring would take a lot of
everything. I think it's everything.
It would take a lot of stress off his shoulders.
Yeah.
The thing about the lockout coming was honest, and I think it was funny when he was like, "You better ask the owners that too."
I'm right, Bryce. Hey.
For as much as he doesn't play with
you and I are union men, that's where we're members of a union. We know how it is.
You kidding me? The working man.
I'm a union guy.
But he was fine. He was good. He was himself, and I do think the intensity was felt, and it's been felt really all off season. So, and by the way, he looks pretty damn good.
Yeah. I'm excited, especially because, like, look, I think the one thing, and I believe everything he says, I really do. The one thing I don't know if I believe is that he doesn't get like even like the tiniest bit of motivation from this whole thing. Like, I feel like anyone would. I don't blame you for it. I just don't think he wants to admit it. So, like, I'm really excited to see how this whole thing kind of, exhibits itself on the field and what this all like, whether or not directly related, whatever, just kind of how it plays out from that perspective.
Well, and now I'm obsessed with him walking ever since the Gelb story about how he had said that his dad gets mad at him when he's not walking.
Love that. He's good.
A better player when he's walking,
and
he's walked, I think, in every game so far, which is important. And I think he's hit like 3 balls over 105. So he hit the home run yesterday off of former friend Connor Siebold. Didn't think he was still in the league.
Wow.
Didn't think he was still. What trade was Connor Siebold involved in?
He went to the Rockies, right?
Well, no.
He eventually ended up in the Rockies.
He eventually got to the Rockies.
Connor Siebold was he part of the Sir Anthony game right now?
No, sirree.
Oh, Nick Pivetta. Duh.
Yes, thank you.
I'm an idiot. I apologize. That took me way too long. Bad job. I was
Pivetta
back in time, and then I finally was like,
Pivetta.
The thing that threw me off is I remembered he played for the Rockies, Siebold, so I had this Rockies thing in my head.
Pivetta and Siebold for Brandon Workman and Heath Hembry.
Mm-hmm. The worst trade in even though Pivetta wasn't there that long, whatever, it's still the worst trade in the history of the franchise just because of how bad Workman and Hembry were.
They were disasters. Heath Hembry used to like all my tweets about how much I hated him.
I remember.
That was a fun time. I had some run-ins with family members of Phillies.
Oh yeah, you did.
There.
Yeah.
Heath did not care. Heath was not. I don't think he was a huge fan of mine.
No,
and the feeling was reciprocated.
Yeah. Well, those two guys are like guys who it seemed like everywhere else they went were at least serviceable and came here and decided to be the worst pitchers in the history of the planet. So like, sorry guys, you get what you get.
Dude, that was the longest 60-game season. I
hated it. Hated it.
They filled 162 games worth of pain into 60 games. I mean, with Jared Hughes running out from the bullpen with the JT, Blake Parker. Remember Blake Parker?
What are we doing right now?
Well, I'm just like,
no, I know.
This is the time that
honestly, here's what I'll say. I remember being happy they missed the playoffs because I was like, I don't want that. Seriously, because I was like, I don't want this playoff streak and like where we're like, waited this long. Like, I want it to be meaningful when we get back. And it wasn't even also like that you wanted to be able to be in the ballpark for it. And that's another thing. But just this team, I was like, screw this. Like, I don't want like this is so lame. If this is how we get back in the playoffs. Extra teams. Like the whole thing was like, don't do this. Like I was actually happy at the end.
Yeah, I mean, no one threw over 93 out of the bullpen. Very modern. Very
unbelievable.
Modern.
Yeah.
So, no, but the Harper thing was good. And then the
let's get to Dombrowski. So yeah, because
no,
honestly,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Real quick.
I was gonna set it up, but just go.
I got it. Real quick. The reaction negatively to the Dombrowski thing is from people like no one that is on that listens to this podcast, I think, reacted the way that certain Phillies fans reacted to the Dombrowski interview. Personally, like speaking of our Eagles beat reporter, that is our good friend.
Oh, I know, visceral. And again, I will say I was surprised how much the WIP callers were like fully anti what he said. Like it seemed like all the calls we took were. I'm with you, Jack. Like I have been as critical of the offseason as anyone. I give him an F. Like I think they had a horrible offseason. I've not been afraid to say it. I thought Dave Dombrowski in that interview was completely reasonable. And you might not have liked his explanations for things, but I don't think they were excuses. I think they were explanations. Like he's going on there to answer questions about things he did. And like, I didn't like some of the answers because I don't like their decisions on, JT or whatever, like not changing up more and all these things. So I'm like disagreeing with generally what he's saying, but like I thought everything he said was reasoned and fair and made sense, even if I disagreed with it. Like there was one line where he said that, where he's like Bohm led the league of doubles a couple years ago. I was like, all right, I know that, but like even then it was like that's my point. Like that's as nitpicky as I can get. That's it. Like I really did not feel like it was an excusey or like a tone deaf type prep. We talked about the one at the end of the season last year where we're like, whoa, that was not great, Dave, with the Harper comment, Strom comment. Like, I don't get what's happening here. I don't think there's a particularly good press conference. I thought he was fine. Like, I thought he was borderline good with us in terms of the way he answered the questions. And again, I didn't like the moves. So I was really, Jack, it was one of those where you do the interview, you don't really know, you go home, whatever. I was shocked when I found out, other than because yes, we heard from one particular person, maybe, but I would who's usually not the like usually we're on the more majority of these type of things. So I was really surprised at how many people, and again, you're right, not our listeners here, but how many people who I expected not to be as angry about the answers as they were.
Well, they were again sometimes. They're explanations. They're not excuses. So
they're not. It's not an excuse. It's an explanation. It's one of my favorite lifelines. It's sometimes it's true. Like it's okay to explain it. Like my bad. You could say my bad and still explain what happened. Yeah.
Well, by the way, the two disaster end of season press conferences. Who could forget after the Mets series where he's talking about how chase rate we were actually ahead of whatever.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So no, I thought
at the end that when he was talking about like we outscored the Dodgers and stuff at the end of the season, like I was like, all right, dude, don't do that. Like, you know what I mean? But I thought he was good with us. Anyway.
I thought he was honest. And if some people had problems with the Stott and Marsh answer. Well, why? I mean, he didn't. Everyone knows they're not star players right now. He said they're solid big leaguers, and even Bohm, he was like, "We think he's closer to 24 and 25."
Yeah, I thought he was very praiseworthy of Bohm. Like again, and you can't yes, they went for Bo Bichette. First of all, we don't know if they were really going to play Bichette at third or second. We infer things, but we don't really know. But regardless, with Bichette, there's a reason he got $40-something million a year. Like he's a good baseball player. It would be ridiculous if Dombrowski pretended like he wasn't a good baseball player, or like with the Kyle Tucker thing. It's like everyone knows that Kyle Tucker is better than Adolis Garcia. I'm sorry, Adolis. Like for 1 month in 2023, you might have been better than Kyle Tucker. For the rest of your guys' career, Kyle Tucker's better. That's why Kyle Tucker is getting $60 million a year or whatever ridiculous thing it is. And you got a 1 year, $10 million tryout deal. Like, I don't think it's crazy for a president of baseball ops to refer to one of the better players in the sport who got a ton of money and say, oh, we couldn't afford him. But obviously, implying yeah, you'd take Kyle Tucker. I think it's so nitpicky. I think it's because people are upset and angry with the offseason and with, what Dombrowski's done, that I think they are transferring that a little bit to what he's saying. And I think we lost Jack. Fritzy. But yeah, I think I personally think, and again, like I've said many times, and we've talked about the offseason, I have said that I am very unhappy with what they did this offseason. I thought it was a bad offseason for the team, but I was surprised that people were still as upset with what Dombrowski had to say in response to that as they were. So we will get to the other interviews once we get Fritzy back, as I'm sure we're working on the technical issues there. Tucker crushing it behind the scenes. We'll get to Rob Thompson was on with those guys. Really interesting stuff from Topper. I thought, like, the word association stuff we'll get to. I thought was fascinating, and I also thought the stuff about Zach Wheeler was really good news. Hey, buddy. So yeah, right there. Jack's back.
Dude,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, I think my computer's like running out of memory, and I had to force quit this, and all of a sudden I hear you in my head. All I heard was you saying Nebraska. And
Yeah,
I thought I was going crazy.
You're like, all right, it's enough with that.
Yeah. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
So anyway, I've pivoted to Topper. I was previewing talking to you about talking because we're both on the same page with Nebraska. The last thing I said was I just think a lot of people are still just angry with the lack of changes and the running it back, and I think they're taking it out on anything Dombrowski says. I think it's like he probably couldn't have said anything in those situations where there's just not going to be a segment of people are going to be mad. Let's get to Topper, because I thought it was a really interesting interview with you guys. I think obviously the biggest news out of it was the Zach Wheeler thing. I mean, I think that was maybe the best news that has come out of any of these interviews in spring training. You were there with him, him not telling everybody, he's like, hey, bullpen sash, all that, like really, really good news on Zach Wheeler, who's like such a big question mark, Well,
and he threw another one today, and I don't know if you heard Rube on the broadcast, but he said the splitter they've tweaked it and it's added 2 to 3 inches of depth.
Oh my goodness!
Which, if that's true, because I always thought his split.
I just want him to get him back healthy. Are we talking about him being better? Can we relax for a sec here? Wow.
I have gotten to the point with him where I just think he's going to be great. Like, I don't really have this big fear of a Zach Wheeler. Like, I think he's going to be close to Zach Wheeler again. I don't have this pitch to a 3.5 thing. I think he's just going to be wheels.
I think it was just more about when will he be back? Can he come back as quick? Like, will this linger and stuff? And because it's one we don't know about. Like, it's like we hear, Tommy John, we know, they'll come back, the velocity will be there, the command, we know all these things. This is such a mystery. It just seems like every kind of step along the way, everything we've heard so far has been great. So all we could do is, expect the best as of this moment, Mm-hmm. All right, let's get to the name association thing, because I thought that was a great question by you, and I thought it was super fun. He said future superstar for Andrew Painter, which I thought stood out. I thought that the answer on Luzardo was great too. The workhorse thing, which is huge to hear considering can he do it again from an innings perspective? And obviously the Keller thing with the rocket thing. That was, what were you thinking when he said Roger Clemens, when you said Brad Keller and he was like word association? He's like Roger Clemens. You're like, what?
Yeah. Well, my thing was like, I was so caught off guard because that was about the
last thing you're excited.
The last thing I could have imagined him ever saying was that Brad Keller reminded. Now, I think he was just talking about his.
He clarified. He said he sees a body across the field, and he's like, "Oh, look at that!" Yeah, but still,
his physical presence reminds him of Rocket, and he didn't exactly look like Rocket yesterday against the the Blue Jays. But yeah, no, I thought that was good. I thought it took him a little while to figure out that Kyle Backus is funky. I thought that was like.
I think he was just surprised that you actually asked him. Kyle Backus was probably the thing. He's like, hold on, I really got to think for a second.
Well, that's on Rob Thompson because
he's right. You should know who he's talking to.
Yeah, come on, man. And I was disappointed how long it took him to get to the Jack Hughes joke that I threw on him. Oh, I thought he was going to be on
all over that. You would think. I mean, you think he'd be devastated in the moment.
Because he looked at Chris Ware, who's one of the Phillies PR guys, and he's like, and Chris Ware's like, the hockey guy. So that was funny. And then he totally ducked the question about if you have one decision back, would it be putting Robertson out for the second inning or the Stott bunt? And he he talked his way out of it.
Yeah, which is not surprising because
No, I really wanted to. I mean, he says he thinks about it all the time.
Yeah,
I just
I
wanted.
know, I know. I'm being intrigued. I think down the road he'll get there. I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
All right, there we go.
There we go. All right, good. We are crushing
This
it right
this
now.
is gonna take a Tucker little
Yeah, adding it. All right,
tightening up session.
So
Well, hold
give
on,
me the
real
rest of
quick.
your thought. Yeah. So I was gonna say, give me your thoughts on the rest of Topper.
Yeah, so like my whole overall thing with talking to him is like I want that guy to win a title so bad. Like I think that
So likable.
I think he's a really down to earth guy, and he comes across there just like a normal human being. I don't think he has an ego. I think he's a really good baseball guy, and I just hope that he can get the job done here. I really do. And outside of Nick Castellanos, it seems like everyone is pretty in on Rob Thompson.
That was what made the Castellanos thing so weird, is that it was like it's like, hey buddy, you're the only one. It seems like everyone else would run through a wall for the guy.
And he keeps. And by the way, Castellanos is still talking about it.
Dude, I wish you just I wish I could mute him like in life. Like you can mute things on Twitter. I wish I could mute Nick Castellanos for my life.
We get it, dude. Craig Stammen. When I think of putting on the shoes, putting on
war,
the spikes.
Went to war, that guy.
Craig Stammen.
Yeah.
But no, I really, really like him, and I think he gets some unwarranted criticism. I didn't think he had a great Dodgers series.
Yeah, he gets some warranted, but I think he gets probably more than he deserves. I agree.
And I couldn't root harder for a guy. I really couldn't. I think he's awesome, and
I totally agree with you.
And every time he even joking around about his hair care routine, joking around with Spike, very comfortable. It seems like I'm a big fan, and I do think he thinks critically about decisions that he makes,
and is willing to change. Like it's not like he makes he's always does the same thing over and over again.
Well, hopefully, besides the putting a guy out there for the second inning, after getting a big out, which
one little thing. Yeah, I agree.
Should have started the inning with Strom.
I agree. We all know. I agree.
Come on, man. And then you have Shohei with 2 outs, hopefully in a perfect world, rather than ending up on Teoscar.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, man. So
yeah, I agree, buddy. I agree.
That was my issue.
All right, before you get to take back, anything from Trey or Aiden that stuck out to you?
Well, I love Aiden.
I was just happy you got to be on with you guys. That was cool.
Yeah. And he looks big, like bigger, which is good. The back thing, I'm just
weird. Yeah, let's just
because with us, he seemed to downplay it. I don't know if maybe something else happened after that to where Zielecki, when he reported that, but he just has that presence.
It could be the team trying to tamp it down a little bit, or it could be anyone just trying to be like, hey, like Alec Boehm's the third baseman to start the year. Like this isn't happening now. Like everyone should know that Aiden Miller is not starting the season as the third baseman for the Phillies. Not starting the season on the Phillies. Like it could be that the hype is getting a little much and he's getting mentioned with Crawford and Painter when he's not. Like those two guys will most likely be starting the season on the big league club as starters. Aiden isn't. So like it could be I think he has a real back thing, but like the Zielecki report could be something where it's like, kind of like playing it out. Like I'm just looking for things because it is weird just to have a back issue at 21 to begin with, like that.
Well, it kept him out of the Arizona Fall League. So I think he's had it for a little bit. And like we mentioned, I think last podcast, like he's had a good amount of these little things.
Yes.
So a back is always concerning. One of my thoughts was they're just saying, dude, we're not rushing you out there to play in spring training games. What's the point? So we'll go through spring training and get ready to play up in Lehigh Valley. Like that was kind of one of my thought processes on the back thing of just like, we don't need to force you out there just to force you out there. These games don't matter at all.
I totally agree with that.
So we'll say, but I mean, him, Crawford, and Painter do have that presence of like we all think we deserve to be here.
Yeah, which is huge,
and feel like they belong.
I thought hope, man. They give us hope. It's exciting.
I know. I thought Aiden was comfortable and all that stuff. So he's a good dude. He's a really, really good dude. And then Turner, him having that year he had last year, I think really just calmed him down.
Yeah.
I think he's comfortable. I thought the answer about the backhand I thought was interesting, because I think that's so different than how baseball has been, where it's always stay in front of the baseball, stay in front of the baseball.
No, you're right.
And then now it's, kind of, and by the way, through spring training, I know it's spring training, but he actually looks better defensively this year.
It looks like that play today was great. Yeah, he looked good.
He's taken maybe another step forward on the defensive side of things. So yeah, I thought
credit to him for working at it.
For sure. But good dudes. They're a likable team, and being down there again, I was like, it's hard not to get the juices flowing.
It does. It gets exciting. And even just being down there in general, because everyone's wearing Phillies gear and you're in a different place, but everyone's off it. It's like you drive into Clearwater and the sign says, "Welcome to Clearwater, official home, spring home of the Philadelphia Phillies." It's just ingrained. It's cool.
And everyone's so happy there. Everyone's
as they should be. It's the best. It's the best. It's the best place on earth. All right. Speaking of which, getting back to my family, let's see the take back.
Yeah. Well, you'll get to your family in 15 minutes. So I got a lot. I'm not surprised.
I'll just reserve my comments.
Okay. One of the most important pieces that have come out of spring training so far is the Orion Kerkering splitter. And even though we haven't seen it yet, that is something to get excited about. He needs something like that against lefties to truly take the next step forward from being a really good reliever to a possible dominant reliever. Like every single righty needs to have something that goes away from left-handed hitters, because if not, they're going to get shelled. And Kerkering, he just spams the sweeper to lefties, and it's a really good pitch. But guess what? If you hang one of them, it ends up in the off the McDonald's sign at CBP. So even though I don't think the McDonald's sign's there anymore, I'm going back to 2007 Ryan Howard territory. So last year he did a better job getting that two-seamer in on lefties and having it start at their ribs and come back. Good start. But in order for him to take the next step, he needs that pitch. I had been dying for Orion Kerkering to learn a splitter, or I think he's using the Logan Gilbert split grip, which is pretty crazy because that's like almost to a traditional fork, which is like you gotta have monster hands to be able to pull that off. So that feels a little aggressive, but we like where the head is at with Orion Kerkering. And like the fact that he is not gonna have to be the big righty out of the pen, he can settle into maybe being the third guy. Like, I think, dude, him and Bolin as the third righty the bullpen is so good. Like, so freaking good. And if Kerkering can really learn that pitch to go with everything else, he could turn into one of the better relievers in the sport. So, super exciting development. I really can't wait to see it in the game. I'm worried it's going to come out a little flat, but whatever. We like where the head is at on Orion Kerkering. He's
all right.
Look at this out there.
Let's
get this out there.
We got you, big dog. We got you.
What happened in LA might have been the best thing ever for Orion Kerkering.
All right.
215-592-9494.
What's next in the extended take back?
I think overall, the team's working quality at bats. I think we're seeing
good, yes,
high quality.
I'm happy you're keeping me extra time to tell me about spring trading stuff. So please.
Let's go through it. Through it.
How about I just take your word for it?
I think Adolis is. I'm surprised. I thought Adolis was going to be way more chase, and I don't think I've seen him really chase. He's not launching yet, but he's putting the bat on the ball, and I like his new setup. Although, James, he's getting closer and closer to what player? What does his swing setup look like to you? Because there's one player.
You know I'm not going to get this, so just tell me.
No. He's a former Philly. He played until he was 48 years old.
Oh, Julio Franco?
Yes.
I can see that actually. I think it's not that far over though. Like it's
not.
Julio Franco looked like he was gonna fall like forward because his bat was so far over. But I can see that. You're right. Actually, it does kind of like it gives Franco-ish vibes. There.
Little Julio Franco, a little bit.
Okay.
So, but he's working good at bats. Stott is working really good at bats. I mean, we talk about walking. He's either walking or roping a ball.
I'm excited about Stott this year. Like of all the, we'll see on Bone. We'll see on this. Like March, if you get, I feel good about Stott. Like if I feel bet on one of those, I feel like Stott's the one I'm in on the 294 second half last year, and this is like I'm doing that thing with Stott.
I tell you what, I'm a little bummed up. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Of course you are.
I'm a little. Listen,
contract year.
Well, and
I can't believe I brought up something that wasn't the take back. What's wrong with me? No, you go ahead. Never mind. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just letting you know that I did send one text today to our good friend Mike K, and I said,
shout out, love Mike.
I said, I don't know, man.
He's the guy, by the way. The Alec Bohmsman is.
He is to an annoying extent, but
over the top. We get it, Mike. All right, chill.
But I was like, what if they extend Bohm after the year? We play Aiden and left.
Can we just what's next?
Aiden and left. Stott's hitting.
See, you went past. It's like that thing where you go right up to the perfect spot and then go 5% past it.
Also, Brian De La Cruz kind of has a Jason Worth swing to him. Anyway, another high quality at bat is Justin Crawford, who I might just become a super fan. I never once worried about the ground ball rate with Justin Crawford. He's hitting the ball hard. I feel like my favorite part about you can just turn your mic if you don't I
had a thought in my head I was gonna say, but you did the whole 2020 bullpen thing. I was like, I wish I had the 2020 cardboard cutouts they put in the stands of me that I could just put your go hang with Emily and Zoe and come back when you're done.
You could honestly do that. You could if you wanted to. No. But the thing that has impressed me about a lot of the guys, overall approach wise in spring training, which matters more than the regular season, is they are working quality at bats and the lefties are hanging in there against lefties. And I think a lot of that has to do with Schwarber, because Schwarber is someone who tells all these guys how to hit lefties, and all of a sudden Stott's hanging in there against lefties. Justin Crawford, who was good against them last year in the minor leagues, he was. Dante Nori even hanging in there against lefties. High quality at bats after high. And you know what I like the most is their confident takes. This is what I'm talking about. I'm so jealous of watching these other teams that the ball's out of hand and they're already looking ahead. And they're not they're thinking about going. They're just no, out of hand. That's a ball. I'm obsessed. With quality of at bat right now. And even to the minor league level, high quality at bats. All right. Some bullpen guys to get to. Okay. First off, I don't carry a lot to run today. Jonathan Boland's fastball up in the zone is a huge freaking problem. I don't know how you square it up. It's heavy. It's up in the zone. Yeah. They're much better. They figured it out from that standpoint. Alex McFarland yesterday, once he found his release point, he was nasty. The Alex McFarland we've been dying to see. Everyone's talking about it.
Thank God.
And I do want to talk about Zach McCambley because I've labeled him my fourth righty out of the bullpen.
You have, yes. Who has not heard that? So.
Little concerned. Here's my concern level. Here's my concern level.
Take your time. Flesh it out.
Is that it is a fastball that he has to sneak by people. I don't like that from relievers. So, in the minors, he didn't walk many guys. He walked 3 guys the other day. The sweeper is still a good pitch, but it feels like we're monitoring the Zach McCambley situation. Mm-hmm. He threw a lot of cutters the other day, which I don't. Maybe that's a pitch he's working on. A couple of them backed up. A couple of them are nasty. If he can get a cutter, if he can go with the 4-seamer, get the sink off that, then the sweeper, we might have something. But if it's what it's been, we're concerned. Okay. Really intrigued by the Nola cutter. It's the best it's looked yet. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe pitching for his home country of Italy.
That'll do it. Yeah, wearing that Italy across the chest. That's going to be meaningful.
It was quite funny watching him say, I've never been there. In the interview yesterday.
At least he's owning it.
I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Wow. This is great.
Well, We did this in the middle of the game. Oh, Zach Pop got smoked today. That's a shame.
No. Oh no.
That's a bummer.
I'd love the sadness in Jack's voice if we did this in the middle of the game. Like he missed the 5th through 7th. Guess what? You can watch the bottom of the 8th and the 9th coming out.
Yeah. Well, I've done a much better job this year in going back and rewatching and be like, I know what Schwarber looks like. I don't need to watch Schwarber.
I'm proud of you, buddy.
Yeah. So we get to the important parts of spring training. Oh, and it was great to see Sanchi dominant yesterday.
Yeah, he's awesome. The Vladdy like laughing at the changeup was fun.
It's amazing. That's what spring training's all about. That's
the best.
That's why you love it.
Just kidding. It's not. But I'm happy, RP. It's best to be down there. All right. I'm going to go because I've been texting with Emily and she wants me to go. But this was great. And I had a lot of fun. All right. We'll see what happens with we'll have another pod soon. Sometime soon. You got anything else for good? I'm not getting
Maybe this week. Maybe this week.
Yeah. Maybe this week. Maybe not. We'll see.
Come on, man.
I'm around. Maybe I will. We'll see. All right. Thank you, Tucker. You rule. Thank you to everyone who's listening. You're the best. We'll be back soon. Until